Hi, it's Karen from Liongate Farm, and today I am going to teach you how to make these funky little chickens. You can make them any color you want. Today we're going to make a black and white one, and I'll give you some tips and pointers on how to make your own little flock of chickens. These are good chickens because you don't have to feed them. Okay, so let's get started. Today we're going to make these little polka dotted chickens. They're super fun. And I'm going to make a black one with white polka dots. So let me show you what you need. You're going to need your choice of black. I'm using a black called Thunder. It has a little bit of white in it. And then I have regular black Corriedale for accents, solid black. I have some red Corriedale, scarlet. I have some snow white color. Then I have a color I'm going to use on the beak. That'll show up really good against the black is what I'm thinking. You need some locks for your tail. You don't need very many, like 3 or 4. I just grabbed a selection. You're going to need some wire. I'm going to use some rusty wire legs, but I will show you how to make the legs out of the wire. You're going to need 4 pieces of about 12-inch wire. So 4 pieces, you can always trim it. I'm just going to demonstrate how you make the legs with this wire. Tools. Oh, and then you're going to need core wool, for your body, just your basic core wool. So you'll need wire cutters for your wire. You need a ruler. You might need scissors. You need a little skewer for the beak. And then your trusty pen tool. I have a 36 star spiral. And then I have a 40, just a regular 40 skinny needle for the details. So let's get started. So first you're going to cut 4 pieces of your wire. This is 18 gauge. I like the skinnier gauge, but it doesn't really matter. This is 16 gauge that we're going to demonstrate. So about 12 inches long. Cut 4 pieces. And then you're just going to twist them together. Armature wire twists very easy compared to the rusty wire. You just twist it all together until you get down. And let me see, my toes are about 1 inch. So you want to leave about 1 inch, and you can always trim them up. So just leave 1 inch untwisted. And then go back to the other end. We're going to twist all of this wad together. And again, leave about 1 inch. So then you have 3 toes in the front. Put 1 toe in the back. Again, 3 toes in the front. I'm going to do that long one. And this one in the back. And then, oh, look. Don't worry about what direction they face because you can just twist them up front. And then you're going to bend it in half. So this is your basic armature for a chicken. You kind of want to make sure it stands pretty level. So that will make another chicken. So notice how far up into the chicken this ends up. This is almost at his back. There's very little here. And we're going to go down almost to the bottom there on that. So let's use our rusty wire. This is a pretty basic armature and chicken. Just tear off a little piece of your core wool. And I just like to wrap it on here. I don't want a lot at the top. Spread its legs out a little bit to start it. So basically, we're just going to wrap where his body's going to go. Give it a couple stabs. All right, so now you got a little base here. And I'm going to just do some stabs to firm it up a little. These guys are really pretty simple. I'm going to put his toes down so that I can sit him flat. This is very similar if you watched our little chick video. It's super similar to how we did that. So now you have your base. Again, I'm going to keep referring you to this. So here's where we're at. We're right there. So we need a shape in the front and we need a shape in the back. There's a million different ways you can do this. I'm going to get my trusty skewer and I'm going to wrap a shape. Wrap it pretty tight. Remember, the tighter you wrap it, the less you have to felt. So now I have this little shape. And it's going to land right there. Secure the end. Now you're going, what is she doing? You don't want to go like this. You want to go like this. Okay, so we're going to poke this on. I'm going to use some wool glue here in a minute. Because what we're doing, whoops, we're building up the back end. Looks really, they always look funny before they're done. So I'm going to take a little piece and I'm just going to tie them together. Remember, there's a wire in there and you can feel it as you're poking along sometimes. I'm just connecting the two pieces. I like to do the fat shapes because then most of my poking is done. If I wrapped it tight enough. And as I poke, I'm going to start poking it so that this end is skinnier. Because that's where his tail's going to go. I should go back and tell you. So this chicken ends up 3.5 inches deep. So this piece back here is about 2.5 inches. So it's going to get progressively wider as you go towards the legs. Now from the top of the head to the bottom here, it's 5 inches. Just something to keep in mind. And he does end up about 3.5 inches wide. Okay. Oops. So now I'm just going to take a little piece and roll it because I want to build a little chest. So this is going to be his little chest. I just wrapped it on there. So when I rolled it, it is about 2.5 inches wide, but I'm wrapping it onto the body. Just like in the back, start poking it on. And this one you place it a little bit lower than the back. Still firming everything up together. This guy takes a little bit longer than our normal projects. So you can see he's starting to take shape. I'm going to keep referring you back to the finished product. You can start to see, oops, I'm backwards. There we go. You can see that's going to be his tail. This is his chest. So now we're going to add a piece to make his head. I just like to keep building it up. So I'm going to build up this piece here. Again, it's about 2.5 inch little roll. It almost looks like an egg with legs right now. And we're going to stab this towards the middle. Start to form the neck of the chicken. Doesn't look like much right now, does it? Looks like a dinosaur. So now I made another little roll. This one's about 1 inch by 1 inch. It's not super tight because I'm just adding a little at a time, building it up to the size I want it. Remember, you can always add, but you can't take away. So it's better to build up in small amounts than to put a giant amount on all at one time. And also this part, you want it a little bit smaller than your finished product because once we put the color on, he'll get bigger. You can kind of manipulate your wool around. It's looking pretty rough at the moment. I'm actually going to take a little piece and I'm going to wrap it really tight on the skewer. Stab it up. So what I'm working on is this head. I need a, and then I'm going to pull this off. Take another little piece. Kind of need a round little head. And I want this fairly tight, so when I put in details, the details don't disappear inside of his head. Whoops. All right, and then I left a little fringe here. You can spread it apart. Now we're going to attach it. Stabbing down inside, that fringe down towards the body. Caught on my corbel. So one last thing before I sit and firm him all up is I'm gonna take this little piece of core wool and I'm gonna make a little triangle. Fold it, draw the triangle with your needle. Fold it in. Fold the top down. Oops. You're folding it in along the line. This is just going to be the base for his tail. This little piece. And it's going to end up right about here. And I'm not going to worry too much. Well, maybe I am a little bit. Smooth this out just a hair. Leave this fringe. It's going to go right here. Now, if you want, you can make this out of the body color. I'm just going to cover it with the black and the white. Okay, so for right now, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to firm up my chicken. The base of the chicken. That's our base. I'm going to firm it up. I might add a little and smooth out the lumpy bumpies, but I want to get him nice and smooth before I add the color. All right, so I've been stabbing on this chicken for about 10 minutes. Take as much time as you need. And I've just been adding little pieces. So like I just added this piece here to smooth out my chicken. Get them all nice and smooth. Because I'm getting ready to add the color on the top. And I'll show you what we got here size-wise. So, see, I got them all nice and smooth. And he's not quite as big as I want him yet, and that's going to happen here with the color. So I'm going to make remember I said I was making a black chicken with white spots. So the first thing I'm going to do is cover the whole chicken with this thunder color, black Corriedale Sliver. Sliver is different than roving because it hasn't been put through the final stage to get it ready. It's all the fibers are still a little bit haphazard, which makes it felt fantastic. So I'm just gonna remember I don't want any of the core wool, so I'm just gonna tear pieces off, cover him up. You can already see he's gonna get much fatter, much bulkier. I like to start with the tail. Don't want any of that core wool showing. I like this thunder color because it has a little bit of white in it, which gives it a little bit of depth. A lot of times when you're using straight black, it doesn't. It's just straight black. It's boring. This gives it something to look at. Now we did the tail. Now we're going to go down here, have this other little 4-inch piece, and I'm going to tear off a piece and I'm going to wrap it around like that. And then I'm going to take another piece, a little bit bigger, and I'm going to wrap it around like that. You see how it's going down the wire? It's making a little thigh. My favorite part on the chicken to eat. So remember the little leg part goes down about 1 inch down onto that wire. Just building it up. Flip them over and let's do the other side. Again, remember there's a wire in there and sometimes your needle can get stuck in it. here. This is a thicker one. Bulk that up a little. I'm going to add a piece right here. I'm not drafting this out so much. I'm just adding. Let's tear this piece off. It's going to go right up. That fringe will go right up into the tail. This is the fun part. It's coloring with wool. I won't smooth them all the way out until I have it all on. We're just going to keep adding. We'll make the wings in a different step. First, want to get the body done. He's starting to look like a black chicken. Be even more fun once I get his white dots on. Kind of like to work from the bottom up. Again, you can make your chicken any color you want. They don't have to be polka dotted. You can make stripes. Sky is the limit. I happen to like polka dotted chickens. I don't have real chickens right now. My chicken coop needs some work before I can put some chickens in it. Remember, keep that tail looking like a triangle back there. So I'm just going to keep adding this color till the whole chicken is covered. That's what you're going to do. And then I'll keep poking it till it's nice and smooth. Okay, so I've been stabbing on this guy for a bit. And see how he's nice and smooth, and I've got all the black color on. So one thing you want to do is once you get the color on, you got to give them a little definition. So just right in here, you want to kind of show those legs. Go about halfway up the body, just to keep stabbing them in. So if on this side, we'll add a little line. Gives his legs some definition. Now, I think I want to make him have a white belly. So I'm going to take some of my snow here. My little snow color. And I'm going to just stack it a little bit. So it'll kind of end up like this. This is what we're going to aim for. Whoops. And we're just going to add it in here. Now I'm not going to worry if the black shows through. I like this little fringe on the outside. Inside the legs. See how you can see the little holes that my needle is making? When you're done, if you just take your finger and go like that, it will get rid of the holes most of the time. If you're using merino wool, it will really leave a lot of holes because it's such a fine fiber. That's why I like to use the Corriedale wool. It doesn't leave that many holes. It gives you a nice smooth finish. So we're going to go all the way up to the point of his tail. Just a little bit more. Remember I said don't worry about beefing up your rooster. He's going to beef up as we add fiber. So there, he has a little white belly. Right now it looks like a raven. Okay, so the next step, you know you can never poke too much, is we're going to turn the chicken around. And I lick my finger. I don't know what you want to do. I take off a little piece of white. We are going to make polka dots. Just make little random polka dots. One right here. I like to go around and catch those stray white fibers. So I'm catching these fibers as I go around. It helps that this black fiber I used had white hairs in it, so it doesn't really matter if I miss some. Put one back here. Just randomly place them all over. The polka dots I'm making are about 1/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch. So I'm not going to put any up on this part of his head. This is his head. And we are going to add a wing, some wings here in a minute. I'm saving the head for last, can you tell? Put one up here. I don't want too many, just enough to give them some character. So now we're going to make some little wings. We got all our polka dots on, and you can see that our chicken is getting to be the right size at this point. You know, and size is relative. If you want to make a giant one, you can. I would just use a thicker wire for the feet. So for the wings are kind of oval pointed shape. We're going to draw out some fiber. Just the sides of we're going to do 2 little piles. You kind of want them to be the same thickness all over. And then they're kind of oval. They're kind of leaf shape. Just make a nice little leaf shape. You know how I like to draw a line with my needle. And then fold the fiber in along the line and felt it down. Gonna think about the shape of your wing. And you want to make them similar. They don't have to be exact. No thing is perfectly symmetrical on this earth, but they're close. Right now I'm just getting the shape and the size correct. I'm leaving a little bit of fringe right here where I'm going to attach it to the chicken. So now we're just going to felt away. Remember, lift it from your pad frequently. And felt it from both sides. Note about colors on your felting surface. So you notice I'm using a light blue one, and this is dark fiber. So I like to use dark fiber on one side, light fibers on the other side. Just helps keep your fibers consistently out of your other projects. So I've been poking on these for like 10 minutes, and I've got a nice little piece of fabric here. And what I'm going to do before I put it on the bird is I'm going to trim around the wing and get all the little stray fibers that I wasn't able to catch. All right, so then you kind of got to look where your wing's going to go. And I like to gather it up a little bit just to put it on. You know, this is a whimsical little chicken, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to gather up that fringe, poke it in. And then we'll put the other, we'll do the same thing with the other one. Again, I'm going to trim off the little hairs. You don't need to do this. It just makes your project much more clean. Gather up my little wing, put it on. Almost to the fun part, which is the head. Actually, to me, putting on the tail is the most fun. That's what makes them super whimsical. All right, so we have a chicken, we got some wings. So now we're gonna do the head. We have little eyeballs that are directly in line with the beak. We have this, the comb and the little wattles, and then their ear. So we're going to, that's where chicken ears are. So first let's make a beak. So I've got this funky little mottled color here. And I'm going to take off a little piece. Remember, less is more. I'm going to wrap it on my skewer. Make a cone shape. There's a little bit of sparkles in this. You can see the skinniest at the bottom. And I'm going to twist it in my fingers a little bit. And slide it off. Okay, so what we got going on here is a beak. So we are making a triangle. These pieces are tiny. Be careful not to stab yourself. This is where I'm going to switch to the 40 because it will catch all the small pieces. So we've got this little triangle thing. I'm going to show you a little trick. Take your scissors and make a little cut. So you see how I cut right down the middle here? And that's going to spread out. We're going to put it on. Okay. This just takes a little bit of patience. So start by poking into the head. Now we have these where we cut. We want to make this like a triangle, sides of the beak. This is fussy. It might take you 1 or 2 tries. And switch to the other needle. 40s are great. They catch stray fibers, but when you want to attach something to your project, you want to use a stronger needle, like a 38. A 38 something, a 38 triangle, a 38 star. Making it flat on the bottom here. Look at reference pictures so you know what your chicken beaks look like. This one needs to be a little bit more blunt. They have pretty small beaks. The other thing is their heads are kind of flat. So right now it looks like a crow. We're gonna flatten this out a little bit. You're gonna take a tiny bit of white. You practiced making all of those dots. So now you're gonna make a dot here. Switch into the 40 to catch all the strays. And then you're going to take a very tiny piece of black. This little black dot, you need to catch all those fibers. You want to keep that white nice and clean. We're going to do one side at a time. All right, so right below the eyeball, a little bit back, chickens have a little round red thing, which is their ear. We're going to exaggerate it a little bit. Should be using the 38 to put this on, and then the 40 to catch the so that's an ear. Now we're going to put the other eyeball on. Now, something that is very interesting. So take your needle. We got to look at this here. We want his eye to be symmetrical, kind of, with one side of his head. Sometimes your head is not felted tight, things will move around, and mine is not super tight. All right, so I know my other eye needs to go right here. Right there. So you kind of visualize right here is where the eye is going to go. So we're going to take a piece of white. You want to make your eye the same size. So look at your chicken from the top, from the front, Make sure they're kind of level. I'm not sure I like his beak yet. I need a tiny piece of black. Just a few fibers rolled into a ball. Use your needle to gather them up and poke them in. And I know I make that look easier than it really is. Okay, so we're starting to get a face. Okay, same technique. It's like, where does the ear go? It goes about there, right there on this side. Right now it looks like a penguin. So now we're going to put on his little comb. And that's really just a little arch. We're going to stack up about 3/4 of an inch piece. Just like we do triangles, we're going to trace a half moon fringe down here, and we're going to fold it in. This half moon is about an inch. It's about an inch. And I know it looks tall right now, but it's not going to end up tall. So it's going to go right here. So I want you to just smoosh it on here. And we're going to go right above the beak. Not all the way to the eyes. Leave about 1/4 of an inch of space for this size chicken. Now, as we gather this up, we want this to end up right there. So there's the back. And now we're going to work it down in. If you look at pictures of chicken combs, they're all different kinds. And you see how it's getting wavy as I work it from one side to the other. Not looking like a raven anymore. Some chickens are fat, flat. Some stick straight up. Some are wrinkly. You know, chickens are just like little dinosaurs. Okay, so now we need to make his little wattles that go under his beak. Same concept. We're going to tear off about 1 inch. We're going to make these all at once. I want you to make a little oval. And I'm going to give you some inches here. It's again about 1 inch, maybe a hair more than 1 inch. 1.25 by a half. So this oval is 1.25 by a half. This time, do not leave any fringe. No fringe. We need just this little oval, 1.25 inches. We want no fringe, but we want it well felted. So same technique we used on the wings. We're going to go and we're going to trim off anything fuzzy. Let's trim all the fuzzies off. Just to make it smooth. Then you're going to find the center and pinch it in. It doesn't have to be exact. So what we're really going to end up with is 2 little circles. You're going to take this and you're going to place it like this and just start poking this in. Then we're going to go to the outside, do a little work here. He's a pretty crazy looking chicken, isn't he? Then what's left, we'll mold his feet in a second. We're going to give him a fun tail. This is what really makes these whimsical. So I have a selection of blue-faced Leicester locks here. And these come from my sheep named Storm, and she makes all kinds of colors. I really like these because they're kind of brown on the tip. I'm going to pick a few. I like these silver guys. I'm going to sit them out. Might as well give it a white one. Let's separate that one. Let's add a little white one. My fingers are all rough from gardening, so the fiber is sticking to them. Here's a little black one. And I think I want one more black one. Remember I said it only takes a couple locks. Unless you want a super fluffy tail. This is a big black one, but I'm gonna leave it in half. So now I have this little pile of tail. And I am gonna attach them to each other first, just gently, here at the cut end. Then I am going to take this pile, put it here, right where the tail is. Notice I put the fluffy end towards the head right now. We're going to flip them back, but by doing this, that's what makes them stand up on your chicken, and then I'm going to poke them straight in. Little haphazard tail. I'll decide if this is enough in a minute. This guy is just not behaving. There we go. floof them up a little bit. Now something you can do right here, just to give it extra finish, is take a little bit of your black, or whatever your body color is, and just add it right here at the base of the tail. Cover up those cut ends. You don't have to do this, it just is a better finish on your project. Those wire feet, they pick up everything. You can floof these up a little bit more. Make sure they're all attached. That one was not. So I'm going to add it back in. And there he is. He's got this nice little floofy tail. It's our little rooster. For his little toes down here, you can take some wire cutters and give them little toenails, or wire cutters, wire pliers. Give them some little toenails. But I like to go back and make sure they're all the same size. If you arch this back one up and down, that's like a chicken. Just make sure he stands nice and straight. Hi, thanks for joining us on our Felt the Chicken video today. If you like it, make sure you click like and follow us because it really helps us out. And you can get all the supplies you need at the liongatefarm.org farm store online. Make a chicken. They're very fun. Everybody loves to collect chickens. And these ones don't cost much.